Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and this morning I'm looking at a book that's come to us from Globe Law and Business. They're experts in many ways in the managing of a particular legal practice, and the book that I'm looking at this morning, the end of 2014, is their book which is called Risk Management in Law Firms. It's got a subtitle, Strategies for Safeguarding the Future, and the consulting editor is Hermann Knott. Now, we've given it the title for practitioners and managers, insights from the experts in risk management. My wife Elizabeth and I looked at this book and we had a good chat about it, and we thought it was a first class book. It's a hardback. There it is, there's the front, the spine. Then there's a little bit of information on the back. As I say, it's strategies for safeguarding the future. And it's really looking at how we deal with our business. On the inside back, a bit of advertising. Then you've actually got no form of index as such, but what you've got is some detail about the various contributors to this publication right at the back, which helps immensely about the authors, it says. Then you've actually got the publication itself. What you've got footnotes. You haven't got paragraph numbering in the normal sense because you've just got actual main numbers, not sub numbers as well. But you've got the footnotes. Then at the front of the book, there's the actual front cover. They love actually having the title down the side, so if we turn it over you can actually read it properly. There's the table of contents. They're not particularly large number of contents. They cover structure and management of law firms, client work, and going over data protection, very helpful. HR issues, that's human resources issues as they're now called, personnel in other words, financial risk, cyber risk, important, globalization, and brand and reputation. So what you've got is, there we go, optimal legal forms, that's the start off there. And again, you've got an introduction, then a structure, then you've got the main body copy. There are no real footnotes of any value. There's the occasional footnote, but nothing very much. And the key to dealing with this book is to read the book all the way through, so you get some idea of what risk management in law firms is. I used to teach these courses on risk for solicitors some sort of 15 years ago now, and it still remains the same sort of issue. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it is really about trying to assess how much risk your firm will actually take when you accept instructions and go for the particular case. And it's always very important, because I'm a barrister at law, that as a solicitor you can say to a client, I'm not going to take your case, whereas as a barrister we have the cab rank principle. It's still there and it works. Obviously public access is slightly different, but the point is that there is always the risk element involved. And that's one of the things that certainly at the bar is a very important factor, because we're not really looking at risk in quite the same way as a firm of solicitors will do. Bearing in mind the type of work that solicitors do, a barrister will normally be involved in contentious litigation, so it's going to be a rather different approach. Now, this is what we say about the book, and it's a first-class, excellent publication, I say, from Globe. This book, one of the latest titles from Globe Law and Business, is a veritable treasure trove of sage advice on risk management, succinctly and clearly expressed, risk management being one of the key factors needed to ensure business success, not to mention survival, in an increasingly globalized economy fraught with any number of legal and business hazards. And obviously it is global, and that's the purpose again behind looking at risk. Or putting it another way, risk management forms the core of any sensible damage avoidance or damage limitation strategy. Reputational damage, for example, may all too often cause a firm to go out of business, and we've seen that recently with the serious economic difficulties we've faced in the last 8 to 10 years. Coping with it, if or when it occurs, or preventing it from happening in the first place, forms the bulk of what this book is about. And in association with the International Bar Association, the consulting editor, Hermann Knott, has put together the insights and practical experience of some 30 authors who are all mentioned at the back, from such firms and institutions as Freshfields, Brookhouse Derringer, Luther and Aon Risk Solutions. So you've got a wide range of expertise there. All experts in this particular discipline. These contributors, therefore, come from, as I say, a range of jurisdictions worldwide, some civil, but mostly common law, and they're of great assistance to us, I think. Although the orientation of the book is international, the editor has taken a solution-based rather than geographical approach to organising its contents, starting with a discussion on law firm management at the beginning and client interest that includes client confidentiality. Subsequent subject areas include data protection and privacy issues, money laundering, very important of course, financial risk, cyber risk, globalization and brand and reputation management. So it is about image, of course. Individual chapters feature, without exception, there's a succinct, rational approach throughout which, thank goodness, is largely jargon-free. And it must be said, it's extremely helpful, I think, to practitioners as well as their administrative and management teams, which we, of course, rely on immensely in the bigger firms. To cite just one example, Section 1 contains a particularly interesting chapter which deals with professional indemnity insurance, basically what it covers, what it doesn't cover, and why you need it, pointing out that in some countries proof of insurance is required before a lawyer is called to the bar. Certainly all barristers in the United Kingdom must be covered by this form of insurance. That's normally the bar mutual scheme that we have. Additional issues such as non-lawyers joining the firms and those facing retirement are also discussed, and that of course will change in the middle of 2015 with ABSs coming in and a complete review of the way we do our business, both as barristers and solicitors, with the rights barristers will have to form themselves as limited companies. And when it comes to achieving a better and or more cost-effective level of cover, the point is made that a clear claims history which demonstrates a proactive risk management protocol will always have more bargaining power than a firm which doesn't. And I think that's a very important quote that I've given from the book. Let me conclude by saying it's intended as a guide only. The book nonetheless contains a wealth of valuable consultancy information and commentary. I have yet to see a more straightforward, detailed, yet mercifully short examination of the principles of good governance, for example, in this book. Anyone charged, therefore, with the management of a law firm should certainly acquire a copy of this helpful volume. And the law is stated effectively in the publication date being 2014. I'll just show you the book again. It's a hardback. I'm going to sort of knock it on the back there. There's the back, which gives you some idea. Just opening it in the middle. This is data protection and privacy in Europe. Very important areas for us now. Again, little bit of footnoting there. You've got some paragraph numbering, just a little bit. It's not very much. So in fact, they've really blended it quite nicely. Here's another one. This is dealing with precedent databases. And again, you've got a little bit of backup. But I think the key to this is reading the actual book itself all the way through. I'd like to thank certainly Hermann Knott and Globe for producing this and the other works they do. They're extremely helpful for us in business, running our legal activities. And without them, we would really have some problems. So thank you to all concerned for an excellent publication. Bye-bye.